I lived here for, 24 years and never attempted to get into the industry. And it was actually my producer who I met was like, you have what it takes. It's just having people in your life that consistently encourage you and consistently tell you like you can do this. You just have to believe in yourself. It's about building confidence, and it's about the dream and the desire of doing it outweighing the fear of it.
Hmm.
'Cause that fear is always going to be there. So it's really what it comes down to is not letting that fear make the choice for me.
What's up, everyone? How's it going? Welcome to Untold Talent, a podcast for creative people about creative people. I hope everyone is doing well. Very special guest, good friend of mine, Allison Hatfield, who is a country music artist currently residing in Nashville, Tennessee. Is that where you're coming from today?
That's correct.
All right. Thank you. So thank you for taking the time to chat with me. So it's actually been a while since you and I have spoken. Since you've moved to Nashville, used to be in Raleigh and you moved to Nashville. So how's it going since the move? Are you all settled in and building a new routine out there in Nashville?
Yeah, so far it's been so good. I do teaching. I teach piano and vocals and a little bit of songwriting. And I love being able to do that, be able to pass the craft along. And then I also do some live music booking and things like that out here as well. So on top of course, shows and lots of writers rounds, things like that, and really continuing to just write as much as I can with other people and by myself, just so that I can continue to grow my craft.
How do you like the how do you like the teaching? I know teaching can be hard. I've taught a little bit before. Like how are you finding you enjoying the teaching thing? Have you taught music before or is this the first time?
I have. I've actually been teaching music for over 10 years.
Okay.
So, I've had students over the years that have really helped grow my strength in teaching. And I've just been really lucky to have really good students that are really passionate about music and really want to learn. I think that's really what makes the difference. It can be a little challenging when you have a student that's just there because, their parents are making them be there.
Right. They
So
don't have the passion.
you always have those, but, there's always ways to bring that passion to them. Truthfully, I love to teach. I think that it is a great way to continue to make myself better at, piano and, singing and all of that. It helps me it helps challenge me to do better so that I can teach better. So, I love it.
It's an interesting perspective. I hadn't thought of that before. I was trying to imagine what it might be like to teach writing, and I found myself thinking to be really hard because even though that like writing is something that I do a lot and know a lot, passing that knowledge on, I think it would be very difficult for me. One, I don't read anybody else's stuff either. Like if somebody gives me something, they're like, "Can you read this for me and see how it is?" That usually I'm like, I can't. I really can't do it. Like, and I feel like teaching would almost be the same thing. Like that's why I think teachers who are good at it and who like it are so incredible because teachers are so important because they can have lasting effects. Like I remember, I can rattle off a couple of teachers who I will never forget because they taught me something really important. And I just think that's what's special about teaching, but it's super hard to do. And I think that's great that you like, because I don't think I could teach writing. I don't think I could do it.
It's
So
not
you're in Nashville, and when I think of Nashville, obviously the first thing that comes to mind is music. I mean, that's kind of what it's known for. So what's the music scene out there right now for artists such as yourself? Is it pretty good? Is it easy to get gigs? I mean, what do you find your experience has been since going back to Nashville?
So it's a different world. When I was living in North Carolina, I was mostly playing, cover gigs. I was doing, 2 to 3, sometimes more gigs in a weekend and every week. And there was places that, it was easy to get a residency out there just because it's not as saturated out there. Whereas here, it's extremely saturated, obviously.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
can imagine. So, the thing about being in Nashville that I think is unique is that the amount of opportunities are more vast. even though it's saturated, you can kind of decide what direction you want to go in, and there's opportunities for every direction. Whereas, in Raleigh, it was more of, the cover gig opportunities. It was not as much of an opportunity for writers to really share their original music. There were some, but not as many. Whereas here, I can play, a writer's round 3 to 5, sometimes 6 nights a week, just depending on,
Oh, that's cool.
the opportunity that you have and what your schedule permits. So, if you want to be a writer, there's those opportunities. If you want to be a cover band artist, there's those opportunities. Um, if you solely want to write and not perform, there's those opportunities too. So there's just such a vast amount of opportunities where you can kind of go whichever direction feels right for you. And it's actually really important before you move to Nashville to decide where you want to go, because if you just go with the idea of, I'm going to be the next Carrie Underwood or Taylor Swift or, name who,
That's going to be
you go with
harder.
that idea, that's going to be hard because it is so much competition. And if you start out with that mindset, then you're going to pigeonhole yourself a little bit. So yeah, just trying to come into it knowing that this is what I want, but here's the baby steps that I need to take to get
Get
there
there.
and have a clear vision. So
So this advice is really good for someone listening. How did you come to the decision of what you wanted to do when you get out there? Did you go out there kind of with this idea already in mind of like what you were going to do when you got there, or was it something that you figured out? Like what kind of path have you chosen for yourself since you've been out there?
yeah, I mean, so my situation's a little unique since I'm originally from Nashville.
Okay, so
So
you kind of knew about the style, you kind of knew about the life
I
before you
knew
got
the
out there.
lifestyle a little bit before, which I will say, it's different. It changes like, every 6 months something's different about it. But especially since I was a kid, it's very, very different. So for me, moving away and then coming back has
Hmm.
really helped me. Moving away, I was able to get a clearer vision. So I think, when I was younger, I was like, yeah, I want to be a superstar. I want to be,
Of course,
famous country singer. Like
absolutely.
those are the dreams you have when you're a kid. And that's not to say that that won't still happen,
Hmm.
but as I stepped away from it and I tried all these new things, I'm like, wow, I really do love playing cover gigs. It's a great way to make extra money.
Yeah, money's good.
Yeah, money's great. We all
Money's
love
good.
that,
Yeah.
especially right now.
Yeah, especially right now. Money's good.
So, I had to really decide before I came here what I wanted out of my music career. And for me, the bottom line is I want to make a living doing what I love,
Absolutely.
which is, I think, what we're all after.
Yeah,
It's
for
we just
sure.
want to have a career and the thing that makes us want to wake up every single day, and continue doing it.
Yeah, that's what life's
So
about. Yeah.
exactly. So for me, I think what finally clicked in what I wanted my, I guess, my life to actually look like in music, I realized that my main passion is writing. And so whether that means one day I'm going to be my own artist where I'm writing for myself, that would be ideal. I would love that. But I also love the idea of writing for other people too. Because, I have songs that I write in a myriad of styles. I don't just write in country, I don't just write in rock. Like I write in a bunch of different styles because I have a lot of influences. So the goal would be able to have my hand in multiple genres and writing for people in, a variety of different styles. So that's what inspires me. I said this the other day, not to be too long-winded,
No, go
but
for it.
I said this the other day to somebody because they asked me about, why I love to write so much. And something that I've always held close to me is that, when there's a lot of people who have the passion for music and want to perform, but they may not have the gift of songwriting or may struggle with it. That might be an area that's harder for them, that doesn't come as naturally. So for me to be able to have the opportunity to put into words what somebody else is feeling or
Hmm.
thinking or wanting to express, to be able to be that that person to say, "Here's what you're trying to say. Now go share it with the world." I think something about that gets me really excited,
That is cool.
to get to do that for somebody and to give them the opportunity to say what they're trying to say.
That is really special. I know a little bit about that, and I'll kind of touch on that a little later. But I also was in a band when I was younger, and had brief ideas of being like Kurt Cobain or something like that. We were in like a grunge band. Um, and I found early on that I cannot write a song for some of the similar reasons. Is that like I have so I love to write. I love to write books and movies and screenplays and things
Mhm.
like that. And I've done that, and I find that that is the only medium that I can convey the emotion that I'm feeling. But if I try to convey sadness or something in a song, I can't do it. It would just be so generic and just I am sad than having a creative way of doing that. Whereas like with a book, um, I feel like I can convey those emotions a little better through characters and scenes and something that's more metaphorical. So that's neat. I also like what you mentioned about writing in different genres. That versatility, I really appreciate that because as a writer, something I get asked all the time is I'll say I write books. Oh, that's neat. What kind of books do you write? What is your genre? And I can never answer the question because I have written different genres just because I write whatever's on the mind at the time. But that ends up being like a scary story, a western, this new thing I'm working on that's more dramatic and whatnot. So yes, I like the versatility there. I don't like locking yourself into like I only write scary stuff or I only write whatever. I think that versatility is kind of neat.
Mhm.
Um, so then I that stood out to me. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I
I
do.
mean, it puts you in front of all the audiences. I think there's something to me about it, which, this could go back to, like, my, the child at heart of, like, wanting everybody to belong and wanting
Mm,
to feel like, everyone can enjoy this, and I feel like if I just offer country, that I'm like, well, there's a lot of people that puts out of the category?
mm.
So I think that having that versatility reaches a wider audience and it lets everybody get to enjoy your craft and not just
Yeah,
one group of people. So,
because not everybody listens to like one type of music.
right.
I mean, I guess some people do. Some people are like, I only listen to this one thing and that's all I
That
want
is
to hear.
true, but that's
But yeah, like for me, my playlist is very eclectic.
mhm.
It is all over the place because music, I like music and I like different types of music. So I think if you were an artist that could like write a country song, a rock song, indie song, whatever it may be, that I think that would open you up to a wide audience. I mean, some might argue that's some of Tay Tay's secret to her success is that she has all different types of music, I think. Um, and is open to stuff. So I like that. That's a good advice, I think, not to lock yourself into like I only want to write this style of music.
Yeah.
Plus, too, that takes a lot of talent, I imagine, to be able to write different. I mean, writing a song to me already seems super hard, but then being able to do like multiple types of songs, like that seems pretty crazy. Did I see recently that you were in a Rising Star competition out in Nashville? Did I see that on Instagram recently?
Yes.
How'd that? What's? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, I actually did hear the news today that I did not advance to the finals.
Come on.
So, it's a bummer, but truthfully, like, just being in the semifinals. So, for those who don't know, the Nashville's Next Rising Star contest was, um, put out there by the Nashville Superspeedway, and essentially what it was is you were competing to play for the NASCAR Cracker Barrel 400 race.
Right. I'm a huge
So
NASCAR fan, so I know all about the Cracker Barrel
yes.
400. Yes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
my dad is a he sells Hot Wheels for a living, so I grew up going to car shows
Well, yeah.
um,
That's right. I
and
forgot. Like you're really big into classic cars.
I'm huge into classic cars, so getting to, like, compete for that was honestly, like, so perfect for me. And it felt really exciting that, it was very fitting for me to be in a contest where it's about cars. And my song, actually, that we'll talk about later, that I submitted is about a Mustang. So it's just very, very fitting, the whole situation.
Mustang is a great car. The team that I root for in NASCAR, they drive Mustang. So big proponent of the
Nice.
Ford Mustang. Go Penske. Well, I hate that. I would have loved to have turned on the race because I would have watched the race and then see you standing there, which I think we still will. I mean, I have every confidence that we will see you um, at the Nashville Speedway one of these days.
You never know.
Um,
You never
have
know
you
what's
ever
gonna happen.
have you ever been to that track before? That's one
Mhm.
on my list that I've not been to, but it was on my list of tracks because I have a bucket list. As an aside, I have a bucket list to see
Uh-huh.
a race at every track on the schedule. So that's on the list because I've never been to that track. Is it worth it? Have you been out there?
It's totally worth it. Yeah, I mean, I actually grew up going there, and that's actually where my dad sells Hot Wheels at car shows there once a month.
It's awesome.
So I've been there quite a bit, and I'm very familiar with it. And it's a really neat track, and it's a really great thing that they're doing. Like I said, out of all the musicians in Nashville who applied, I made the top 10. So to
That's perfect.
me, it's a huge accomplishment. My followers really, really showed up for me. The second round was around for social media engagement, and I just was blown away by how much people showed up for me in that. So just, thank you to anybody who's listening that was part of that. It was really amazing to see the support that I had. Um,
No, it's incredible because you said earlier about you talked about the saturation, in Raleigh, the fishes and ponds, small fish, big pond. You to go over there and with that can you I just can't imagine the amount of submissions that contest must have had because of all the artists that are in Nashville. And to think that you made the top 10 out of those, that's a win in itself. I mean, when you think
Absolutely.
about it, that's
Absolutely.
incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, moving to Nashville, talking about that, I do want to say that I think that's incredibly brave and inspiring in a way, deciding to move out there because I know moving is difficult. I haven't actually done it a lot in my life. I've lived in this county of North Carolina my entire life. Um, but I know that's what comes with chasing a dream though. And I think back on my own life, I was never brave enough to make that leap. And I regret it so often. Because I think back when I had dreams of being a pit reporter in NASCAR, or being a filmmaker back when I was doing that, I considered moving to Charlotte where NASCAR has their operations. I considered moving to New York to attempt to learn film. I considered these things, but I never attempted them. I always talked myself out of them. So, that's the one good thing about being a writer. You can do that anywhere. So that is safe. But when did you know that it was time to move back? I know you lived there before. So that kind of, I feel like maybe that takes some of the nervousness out because you're going back home, but still you had to uproot a life that you had been building in Raleigh and go back to Nashville to chase a dream. So when did you know that you woke up in the morning and were like, I got to get out of Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm not going to be able to do it in Raleigh. I got to go back to Nashville. How did you get the courage to do that?
Well, a lot of it had to do with just the community of people I had surrounding me. That the more that I did it solo, the more that I did it on my own, the more that I did it even with other people, um, the more I realized that I had what it takes. And I think that's what a lot of it is building that confidence. Because for a long time I didn't have it. I had very, very low self-esteem, very low confidence.
Mm,
So, I wasn't even going to try. I lived here for, 24 years and and never attempted to get into the industry. And it was actually my producer who I met. We were in a play together years ago during COVID of all times. My producer was like, you have what it takes. Like, you have to do this. And his name is Ian Stewart. If you need a producer, he's amazing. Uh, But it's just having people in your life that consistently encourage you and consistently tell you, like, you can do this. You just have to believe in yourself. And so I think that's really what it came down to, is the people that were in my life telling me that I can make it. And
Nice.
so it's about building confidence, and it's about the dream and the desire of doing it outweighing the fear of it.
Hmm.
'Cause that fear is always gonna be there, and, you
Hmm.
hear that,
Absolutely.
as cheesy as it sounds, you hear that phrase, that, courage is not the lack of fear, it's actually just choosing to do it in spite of the fear. So, it's really what it comes down to, is not letting that fear make the choice for me, and which is a lot of, the music that I write, the music that I release. A lot of it comes from a place of, my faith in believing that God is going to give me what I need to to help others, to inspire others, to make people feel loved. And that's where I draw that strength from. And that's what I use to propel me forward as it's more than about just writing music. It's about connecting to people, and I believe we need that. And so there's that urgency there, that's necessary in our world. And, COVID was horrific. So my album that I released during COVID, my first album, was called Songs of Hope,
Hmm.
because I was like, that's really what we need right now. We need
Yeah, I think we still do.
we still do.
Um,
We definitely
I
do.
know I have so little hope. For so yeah, I think we have that. For more on how little hope I have, listen to Mildly Alarmed podcast,
Yeah.
um, where I talk about how little hope I have once a week. So let's play one of your songs. I have one of your songs up here from the album Storybook. Tell us a little bit about that album. And this song, I think I want to start with is the first song on the track is Blood Red. I think is the one that you mentioned. So tell us a little about Blood Red and this album, Storybook, before we play the song.
Yes. Blood Red is I actually released it as a single before I released the album. And the thing about that album that really I was trying to get across is my life is a story. Everything that I write is either a story of mine personally, or it's a story of someone close to me, or a collection of stories that I created a new story from. Most, as a writer, I'm sure you know this too, like most things that we write, we draw inspiration from real life experiences that we've either heard or experienced ourselves, while, creating, you know, a a fictional storyline to make it more interesting, or more, more exciting. So, obviously, again, like I said, I'm a huge car junkie. So I knew that a song about a car had to happen at some point.
Yeah. Plus,
Um,
it's a country song. You
and
have to
it's
have
a
a
country
you have
song.
to have a song about a car,
Exactly. So
right?
you gotta have a country song about a car. It's one of those things that you have to check
It's
off
part
the
of the
list.
part of the gig. Well,
So,
let's yeah, let me pull it up here and let's all take a listen to this song. This is called Blood Red. Let's take a listen here.
Lousy in the worst ways. His money has money, but he never pays. Gets high on adrenaline, drunk on pain. Says he'll be a household name. Then he pulls into the drive with the engine revved. What do you know? Song of a Mustang, blood red. Now I'm driving till the red lights turn to blue. The only song I'm singing now has some words I've never used. I don't know if the girl in this driver's seat is who I was yesterday, but damn, I get to drive your car instead of watching you drive away.
Nice. I like that little drive away. That was good. That's something
that's the
else.
fun part.
That was cool, man. That's You have a good band. Where'd you find those group of musicians?
Um, they're a very eclectic group of guys that I
Hmm.
actually found through my producer, and some other channels. But my piano player, he's amazing. He's done some touring with Lady A, things like that. My um my bass player, who is just the nicest guy, he actually plays bass with Drew Holcomb and the Neighbors. So very, very talented guy, and is very consistent in the industry. And then, myriad of other people. Also, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Little Texas, but my
If I've ever heard of Little
the lead.
Texas,
Have you ever heard the song God Bless Texas?
I
It's
feel like I might have.
it's probably most people have. It's
Yeah, I
God
feel like you've
bless
heard a song called God Bless
His own
Texas once in your life.
hands. Yeah, it's very,
Yeah.
very, very popular song, but from the 80s. But the leads one of the lead guitar and stuff in my album for that was Porter Howell, who was with Little Texas. So very, very good guys. And just so much fun. The band was incredible. They literally like all went into a studio and finished the whole album in a day and a half.
A
So,
day, wait, that all of what we heard took a
mhm.
day and a half to throw down.
Yep, that song alone probably took them, a few hours.
That's
So,
incredible.
it was 7 song album, and that was, yeah, a day and a half. They were done with everything because they're
That is
incredible.
amazing. I would not have thought that. That is amazing.
Very, very
Uh,
grateful for them.
so where does your inspiration come from? Do you write more about life experiences, or is it more a feeling and emotion that you're trying to convey, or is it more storytelling? All of the above. Where do you get your inspirations for? Like, for example, the song we just heard about, that scene that you were painting in our heads there with the lyrics. Like, where do these inspirations, these stories come from?
I think it's different for each song. I think it's a little bit of all of them for me. I do write stories and books and stuff as well. I've never gotten to the point where I could spend enough time and energy to, get any of them ready for people to read.
Okay.
But I am a storyteller. So
Mm-hmm.
for that song in particular, it wasn't something that actually happened, but I went through a season of life where I was, dating, just going on dates with different guys to see, what I was looking for. And I met a lot of scumbags. As I'm
Yeah.
sure they're out there.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so I met a lot of guys that just, especially in the Raleigh area, unfortunately, you do meet a lot of
I've
men.
heard a lot of stories from my other, lady friends who live in Raleigh who have told me some things about some great stories
Yeah.
about some douchebags they've met in Raleigh and Cary,
Yeah.
which have been, always appreciated those stories because they've been, as a writer, like something you never want to do is to gossip with a writer because it's going to end up in a book.
That's true.
And
Never screw
so
over a writer to tell
I think writers in general, right?
them. Yes.
If you
Mhm.
tell us something, that's free reign to use
Yes.
that.
Yep. Might change your
So
name, but we're gonna use it.
yeah, so I have one friend in particular who recently told me a story about a date that she went on with one guy, and I was like, just sitting there, just like, tell me more. Like, what was he wearing? What did he just said it for me? Because like this is too good to be true. But apparently there are some. Unfortunately, coming from this area, born and raised, there are some douchebags in Raleigh.
They are there, and they're not all bad. There's some good guys out there. I won't I
Sure,
won't say they're all bad, but during that season, there was all the dates that I was going on. It was just, you know,
bit much out there.
it was a bit much. And most of them were laughable. Like you said, it was, just I would go on a date with them and I'd be like, I cannot believe that this guy is doing this. And a lot of it had to do with, they had a lot of money, and they just had a sense of entitlement
And
where they
they
felt.
wonder why they're still single, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so being a car lover, I just thought, wouldn't it be great to write a story about, the scenario where, a guy takes a girl on a date, and, he continues to treat her poorly and has this nice, beautiful Mustang, and she's like, well, screw me over one more time, I'm taking your car. Not that I would ever do that in real life. I do not condone stealing vehicles.
Right, sure,
Throwing
yeah.
that out there. But it's just that very I
But
kind of
how cool
pulled
would
it
that be, right? That
right.
fantasy of stealing this douchebag's car and just riding off
Exactly.
with it. That'd be awesome, right?
Yeah, pulling from that era of music, mainly that 90s country like Martina and
Sounds it.
that
Um,
that idea of the Dixie Chicks, pulling that, these we're just basically taking back the control as women in this scenario and not letting them run over us like they're trying to. So,
no, the song has that sound, like from the first couple of notes. Like it sounds like country from early 2000s, 90s country. It's good.
that's my
It's
favorite.
it's a good time. It's a good time. So is that where writing begins with you? Like how do you craft and formulate your songs in like a story way? Do you have like a certain formula you like to follow? Like is there, I don't know how it works in songs when you write songs like this, because like I said, I couldn't write a song. I couldn't do it. But like with writing, when I'm writing a book, like there is a journey, a hero's journey. There's an act one, there's an act two, there's an act three. Do you follow those same codes when it comes to writing, or is there a different style of doing it? I mean, verse, chorus, verse. I don't know. Like, does verse one act as like an act one and verse two act as like an act two? Is that how it works? I don't know.
I think it just depends on the writer. For me personally, um, my particular writing style, just because I've been doing it for so long and I grew up around it, I'm actually a pretty quick writer. So for me, I feel the emotion or I see the experience or, whatever I'm drawing the inspiration from, that part happens and then the song just kind of comes out. So I'm typically the type of person that like I start from the beginning and I go to the end and then I'm done. And then I take my hands off and, I'm finished. For
Do you
that
feel
part.
better after the emotion's gone for that moment?
Oh yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Get it off on the page,
It's
done with it?
100% a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. But for Blood Red in particular, that wasn't necessarily like, I'm overwhelmed by the situation or this experience, which some of them are that way. It was more of I really should write a song about a car. And then I thought about those
Yeah.
experiences with those guys. And, 30 minutes went by and it was done.
30
So
minutes.
it just happens and I just kind of let it flow. I try not to be too hard on myself. I think where writers, which you could relate to this, I'm sure, where writers maybe like get stuck is you kind of over analyze and you second guess, you question. I think like there's nothing wrong with going back and taking a second look at a song or a piece you've written and editing it, but you have to also trust your first instinct as well
Yeah,
because a
you
lot
do.
of times the emotion and the feeling that you're pulling from the beginning, especially with music, it's your gut. That's what initially comes out. And if you overthink it too much, think like, oh well, this may not be the bestseller because of XYZ. A lot of times that's where you get hung up. So
Hmm.
I'm not really the type to go back and rework my songs very much, unless I feel like the emotion has changed because of an
Mm.
experience. So
Yeah, I'm jealous of that. It takes me a years sometimes to write a book.
that's so
Um,
much more work though.
it takes
I
me
could not
a
even
while.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can usually get a first draft done pretty quickly, but it also means like, um, because I don't know, I have to kind of get into character a little bit when I go to write. So when I do that, it's like that emotion that I started out writing about was very strong. And then I might feel good about that emotion like later in life because it's taken me a year to write this and you clearly get over it. But I keep having to revisit that emotion and those things over and over again as I get back into character to finish the thing I'm writing. So it's like
Yeah.
sometimes I live with one idea rattling around in my head that like keeps bothering me for like a year. I'm stuck on this thing.
That
But
makes
that's
sense. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's part of why, I mean, think about it, obviously a 3-minute song as opposed to like a whole book is totally,
Yeah.
totally different. And that makes sense that it would take, more time and more energy. But for me, one of the reasons why I do write so quickly and why I don't go back a lot is because that emotion is gone. So like if I want it to be the best song that it can be, then I need to pull from that emotion. And if that emotion isn't there tomorrow, it's harder to recreate that if you're not feeling it. So, um
Well, you may always, life is full of douchebags. So when it comes to Blood Red, you may have written it about a douchebag. He is now gone, but that is no guarantee that tomorrow you won't bump into another douchebag. And now all of a sudden this song will be like, you know what? This song means something more to me now when I now have a new
That's
douchebag to
true.
sing about. Let's listen to another one. This one is called Heartbeat. I believe. I think I may have to turn on my light because it is getting dark in here quick. I'm losing the light. So let's listen to this one on the album. Track number 6, Heartbeat, correct? Anything you want to tee up for us before we hit play, or you just want to dive into it?
This one is gonna be a little bit more of I pulled from a bit more of a different genre here. It's not as country. So just keep that in mind.
All right, here we go. Heartbeat.
Played with my heart, messed with my head. Now you're wondering why I'm putting it to bed. You didn't make it easy on me. To start moving on quickly. No, all you did was make me fall apart. Oh, fall apart. So don't go crying to me now. Don't think I'm gonna give you the easy way out. No, don't just think I'm gonna let you off. Just a warning, oh, just a warning. Oh, what you need is a heartbeat. Looking at her.
Damn, that was good.
Thank you.
That might be my new favorite song of yours.
Thank
I
you.
did really like Storybook before, but man, I think that one might be my new favorite one. But man, that's a really good piece. That was a really good piece.
Thank
I
you.
love that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was a good one. What chicken or the egg situation? What comes first? Does the melody or the lyrics come first in your mind? Do you hear the tune, but the lyrics, or do you write the lyrics and then find the tune?
So for me, again, I'm a bit of an unusual writer. I think for a lot of people, they usually have one or the other. But for me, it actually comes at the same time. Like I
Same
said,
time.
typically when I write a song, I start to finish. Usually, it's my brain. It says this is the idea, this is the feeling, and then I usually will start strumming, and the words will just come out. So usually, it
Okay.
happens in tandem, where as I move to a new chord, the words come out. Sometimes I play it a few times and I adjust the words how I feel. Um, but it just kind of depends on the song. But like I said, typically I just do it at the same time. I don't usually do one or the other first. There have been cases because I am a poet and things like that. There's been cases where I've written a poem and later put music to it.
Okay, yeah.
So and then just adjust based on the tune. But that's pretty rare for me. Typically, I just, I feel the emotion, I sit down and I do it kind of at the same time.
Yeah. Do you typically write with the guitar with you, or are you carrying around like a notebook and then like, oh, I thought of a line and you write it down and then later go back for the guitar, or do you usually like have a writing session with your instrument?
It depends. Sometimes I have actually, I'm trying to remember which song it was. I wish I could remember. I have one of the songs that I wrote. I actually wrote while I was at work. uh, Sorry,
Good
y'all.
place for it.
Um, but it was when I worked at the apartment complex in North Carolina. I was sitting at my desk and I had pretty much finished what I needed to do that day. It was a slow day and I had an idea and I just was like, all right. So I was singing it, humming it in my head, like the
Yeah.
that I wanted and recording it on my phone quietly while my, other two coworkers were actually working. I wish I could remember which song it was. It might have been, I think it was definitely one of them on the album. It might have been Catch Me If You Can. But
Oh, it's one of the ones on the album Storybook.
yes, it was one of those that I
Oh,
did that with. So,
that's cool.
sometimes the inspiration strikes at times that aren't,
That's kind of the fun part about art, really, is that when things hit you
Mhm.
and you're like, and it's one of those inside stories, like no one else is gonna know that, but you're gonna be like, I thought of this while I was working at the apartment complex. Just
Yep.
was humming away, and it's just one of those things that like you remember working on, but no, like, no one else is gonna know that. I love those little inside details. So you had told me you had two songs that are unreleased. They're not on Spotify. Do you have those two songs that you still want? Do you still want to share them?
Would love to. I don't have the best way to share a recording from here. I do have my guitar with me, so
Do you want to do it?
I could play it live for you if you
Let's do it.
if
How
you
cool would
want.
that be? I did not expect that, but that is an upgrade. Yes. Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a particular one you want to start with? One is slower and sadder, and the other one is a little bit more upbeat, if you have a preference.
Hmm. Let's do the upbeat one first, I think.
Okay.
Let's get us going and
Okay.
then bring us back down to the chill.
Perfect. Well,
This is
I
exciting. I didn't expect this.
somehow it's still in tune. So the first one I'm going to play for you guys is actually going to be hopefully my next release. So this song, I've already spoken with my producer. I'm working on a demo right now, and idea is to hopefully have this released before fall because
Cool.
this song is something I actually wrote around Halloween time
Oh,
last
sweet.
year, 2 years ago, and it was, just it kinda came to me again. I was having a really anxious moment where I was feeling really overwhelmed by life, and, so it's a song about anxiety with a, little haunted twist.
I know a lot about anxiety,
Yeah,
and
and haunted twists.
yes, I know a lot about those two things.
This one would be fun,
This will be cool.
since you do a lot of, like, horror and stuff, so I thought it might be a fun one to share here.
Well, thank you. This is a treat.
This is Monster in My Mind. Falling into pieces, get locked in my head, crying out to Jesus, wondering if he said, if this life would be easier, if I'd ever fall, if he'd pick me up again, or if I'd be on my own. There's a monster in my mind, and it's eating me alive, sucking on my soul, throwing me into the unknown. God, it feels like torture, I can't escape. This hollow skeleton inside me shakes. Walls are closing in, I can't ignore. Locked behind my own door. So someone, please come save me from this monster in my mind.
with sleepless nights over something I've decided was big enough to keep me, really enough to stay. Thoughts consume me, overtake me, feed on my weak heart. Which way is the one that leads to the light that consumes this dark? There's a monster in my mind, and it's eating me alive, sucking on my soul, throwing me into the unknown. God, it feels like torture, I can't escape. This hollow skeleton inside me shakes. Walls are closing in, I can't ignore. Locked behind my own door. So someone, please come save me from this monster in my mind. Wish I could find a way to come up out of this grave. 'Cause nothing will satisfy till I see the light. There's a monster in my mind, and it's eating me alive, sucking on my soul, throwing me into the unknown. There's a monster in my mind, and it's eating me alive, sucking on my soul, throwing me into the unknown. God, it feels like torture, I can't escape. This hollow skeleton inside me shakes. Walls are closing in, I can't ignore. Locked behind my own door. So someone, please come save me from this monster in my mind. From this monster in my mind. From this monster in my mind.
Awesome. Isn't that the worst thing? Monster in my mind. I was thinking how awful intrusive thoughts can be, and it does just feel like it tugs at the soul. I know it happens to me at least 6 times a week.
If not more.
And yeah, that's what I was thinking about when I was listening to the song was just, gosh, I know what that's like, just having that monster in the mind. That was a great song. Something I really appreciate about your music is that it reminds me of music from better times in the world, with and it pulls me back to a time. I also like that it's got this sound. I really like music that sounds like you can ride down the road with the windows down. It's one of the reasons why Dreams by the Cranberries is one of my favorite
I
songs, because
love
that is
that song.
yeah, it's a windows down kind of song. You hear the song windows go down, it's sunny, it's nice. Your music, especially Blood Red, and that one has a sound that you're just like, you gotta put the windows down and take a ride.
Thank you. I
It's very
appreciate
good.
that.
Very good. Now the other one. Tell us about this one.
So this one is actually my newest song that I say my newest song that I've written. I've written a few others since then, but this is the newest one that I am continuously working on as well. I wrote it at probably it's March. I wrote it at the beginning of this year.
So this is really new.
So this one's pretty new, and this one it's a sadder song, like I said.
I like sad songs.
I do. I like sad songs, and it's one of those things where it's an old feeling as I was dealing with stuff from my past and things like that. It brought up emotions that I haven't dealt with before. I had recently gone through some health issues and things that happened last year, and a lot of the stuff that came from that was stuff from my past that were affecting my body in ways that I hadn't even realized. So, this song is kind of a reflection of that,
All
uh,
right.
but it's called "It's Just Me."
Have you ever felt so lonely you could die? Wonder if the world could hear you cry. You're all alone, don't you know? Ever been so sad you lose your mind? Packing up your things to say goodbye. Where to go on your own, don't you know? Or is it just me? It feels like you can never really breathe. And all you ever get to do is grieve. Tears forever fall down your cheeks. Oh, I hope it's just me. Have you ever felt a longing for the sky? Tell yourself you'll give it just one more try. Fix on the floor, can't let it go, don't you know? Or is it just me? It feels like you can never really breathe. And all you ever get to do is grieve. Tears forever fall down your cheeks. Oh, I hope it's just me. The ache inside my core, feasting on my heart, ripping me apart. You don't know damage that was done, clings to every bone, taking on control. Is it just me? And it feels like I can never really breathe. And all you ever get to do is breathe. Tears forever fall down your cheeks. Or is it just me? It feels like you can never really breathe. And all you ever get to do is breathe. Tears forever fall down your cheeks. Oh, I hope it's just me.
Man, no, it's not just you. It no, that song I feel like pairs well with something I'm writing right now. Um gosh, yeah, like I'm working on this story. I too had like a life kind of changing event like a couple of years ago. And I remember going through some of the similar things you were writing about in your song. Um and just was watching like the life that I thought I had working towards was just crumbling apart. And then it all fell apart, and I was just kind of left thinking, well, what now? Like I thought that this one life I was working toward was what was always gonna be there, and then it wasn't. And I was so overcome with like this grief and this guilt that I couldn't explain. And so I started writing, and what's inspired this new thing I'm kind of still working on and getting close to finishing, Sourdough, about a guy who goes through similar things and then just picks up and leaves and goes to Alaska to try to find himself.
Yeah, that's
It's
cool.
like Eat, Pray, Love for Men. But that's, but that is, that song, I was reminded of some of those times through that challenge. When you say, "Is it just me?" It does feel very lonely sometimes when you're in that. It's like, I'm the only one who understands what I'm going through. No one else could possibly understand this.
Mhm.
This is a
Yeah,
great song.
thank you, thank you. And that's, like, a lot of what drew the inspiration was, in those moments, I definitely go to that place where I'm like, "It is just me, like, nobody else is feeling this way." And that's actually, like, that's what drills you deeper into that place, is believing that you're the only one going through it. And what I've learned is when you are going through those times, community and having good people who also get it around you is actually what pulls you out of it. And that's what kind of the inspiration of the song was like, I felt that way then, but I'm like, now, now I have people who are helping me out of it. And as I was dealing with all of those things, it was the community that I had and the people around me that changed it for me and helped me through it. And so that was a lot of the inspiration. And every single time I play this song, what you said was the exact response I get is, it's not just you.
Hmm.
And that to me is like why I wrote this song, because it evokes an emotion in people that it's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not alone." And
That's a
I'll
good feeling too,
it
when you feel that way.
it is, yeah, when you're like, I'm not alone in this."
Yeah.
And I'll be brief about this, but there was a situation years ago that was really, really tough, really difficult, and I went to a writer's round, and this guy played a song called "It's Okay," and I just sobbed. I was just sitting
Hmm.
there sobbing,
Yeah, it reached you in a
and
way.
I was just like, "Oh my gosh, he gets it." And we became friends after that. A great guy. And that was having a situation like that was like, I wanna be able to give that to other people, to
Well,
offer
exactly.
that to someone else.
Isn't that why we do it? The bleeding hearts of the artists?
Yeah.
Like, I know that, like, I was going through all of those emotions and those feelings from that time, and I was still kind of wrestling with them and dealing with them, and really felt like I needed to be rid of them. I needed to get them onto something else. But so it was kind of selfish at the start. But at the same time, as I was writing Sourdough, I kind of was like having this feeling of like, if someone can read this and feel like, damn, man, I went through that. I know what he's talking about. I know what he's writing about. I know what he's feeling about. And to take some solace out of that. I don't know, like I felt like that's why we do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why what we do is exciting to us.
Yeah, I mean,
Why else would we do it, right?
exactly. It's not like it's not super rewarding financially as
It's not.
unless
It's
you,
really not.
become really, but even the people who are up here, they still have to work every single day to stay up here. So, it's not an easy thing to do. A lot of people can look at it and go, this is maybe not the most responsible path, or, whatever they want to say about it. But at the end of the day, I feel like I have purpose in my life every single day, because I know that what I'm doing is touching lives, and it makes it worth it. All the hardships, all the troubles, all the things that come with it, totally worth it.
It's a beautiful thing. That that is the bookend on this, I feel. There is nowhere else we can go from here. That is a beautiful thing you've just said. I think it's the whole reason for this podcast. It's the whole reason why we do what we do. Amazing. Allison, it was a real pleasure getting to talk to you in this way. I know we've known each other for a while, but I don't feel that we've ever talked about this kind of stuff before. This was a real pleasure getting to do this and listening to your music today, sharing your music with us. Thank you for sharing your talents. Where are you playing around the area, and where can folks find you and keep up with you and stay connected with everything that you're doing?
Yeah, if you want to know more about where I'm playing or my music that's coming out and anything else that I do music related, you can find me at Allison Hatfield Music on every platform, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. It's all the same, just to make it easier. And then, of course, you can stream my music on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, um, Pandora, YouTube, wherever you stream, whatever is comfortable for you, you can find it at Allison Hatfield Music.
Not to put you on the spot, but one last question before you go. But one artist comes up to you and says, I want you to open for me this weekend. What artist would you want that to be?
Dolly Parton, not even a question.
Dolly? I had a feeling. I had a feeling you were going to say Dolly Parton. I know your love for Dolly
Not
Parton.
not even a question. Yeah, and if anybody knows me at all, they know
Yeah,
that Dolly Parton is my number one
she
inspiration.
is the queen of country.
She is. She's the queen of everything.
Yeah.
Dolly
Well,
for
thank you
president.
so much again for joining us. Allison Hatfield, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching Untold Talent. I'm Justin. Take it easy. Thank you for joining us.